This is the WAXP one-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently June 18th, 2024, 8:36 p.m. Eastern Time. WXP at the time of this reading is 0.039815, just under 4 cents USD. And the shuffle video for the 2025 reading was created on March 29th, 2024, 4:11 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the video playing for you in the lower left corner. So the overall theme and behavior for WAXP in 2025, there's a notable peak on a multi-year scale that we sell off from pretty notably. It's crossed with the commencement of a rally, a big move to the upside starting a rally. So those two things together really indicate a pretty mixed year. Behavior around the highest high, we have sideways rotation along key support, a big move higher, and then sideways rotation at a higher support level near the high, and then behavior around the lowest low for the year. We have sideways rotation along key support. Looks like we have a sharp decline off of the peak into the low, and it looks like opportunity as well, like a buy opportunity on a multi-year kind of scale. Now, I'm going to get into the week-by-week chart behavior, and in the paid version, I get into the timing of the highest highs, the lowest lows, and the best trade opportunities. All of that stuff in just a moment, but before we get there, I just want to make sure you're aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube tips, and that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. I just want to remind everybody, these cards going from left to right across the screen, those are what we call timeline cards in SO meta-analysis. These timeline cards each represent, in a one-year reading, they each represent about 2 weeks of time, but what you need to understand is that in some cases, not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 2 weeks of time, so you do have to give it some wiggle room, like a 2 weeks plus or minus here or there occasionally, not in all readings, in some readings, but either way, what you want to pay attention to most importantly is the sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction, because that will remain accurate even when we're off a little bit. It does happen, guys. So in January, in the early part of January, we have a period of sideways rotation along key support. We rise to meet the nearest key resistance on a one-year chart scale and then fall back down and continue rotating sideways along that key support. There's a sharp drop to a lowest low for the year, at least thus far, about midway through January. Really, it'll stand out. So it looks like we're rotating sideways along key support. We rally a little bit to meet that key resistance, and then that rally turns over and we decline pretty notably into the low mid-January, and then we rise a bit on to meet the cusp. But it looks like there's a low in mid-January, possibly even again on the cusp of January, February. The later part of January, we have a period of sideways rotation and a sharp drop that stands up in that period of sideways rotation. Usually we revisit a support level that was recently a past opportunity when we see the Queen of Discs. So it could be that we're seeing the low twice there. There's a prominent high in January in close time proximity to a prominent low. All right, there's a peak in the early part of February with a sharp drop off of it. 3 pokes through the same trend line in the early part of February, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke. The February high forms when we push the upper end of a range higher on a one-year chart scale. But that rally turns over with a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through a diagonal trend line that we were rallying along with increasing volatility on the way down. It looks like the later part of February we have a sideways fluctuating rally that precedes a sharp decline. February's low marks an important range, the bottom of an important range on at least a one-year chart scale. So I think we probably see the low twice there. Once in January and then on the cusp of January, February. And very likely there's a highest high there in February as well. An important resistance level on a one-year chart scale highlighted in early March. Usually we see some sort of flat behavior when we see the peace card. We successfully turn resistance into support near the March high, but it looks like there's risk of being misled at the March high, which seems to be like midway through the month. Pretty big move to the upside off of the March low. And the later part of March, we have a decline that ends with a fast sudden move higher. April, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher and a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. It's hard to say if this is a high here or if this is speaking more about the high over here. There is some possibility of a high here in April, but I don't think so. So there's a prominent move higher, full retracement back down, and then that full retracement back down ends up at a trough 3/4 of the way through the month, and there's a big move to the upside out of that trough, an unexpected move higher in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds or some sort of really scary chart behavior. The April low forms when we have a period of sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher. So we rally, and then we retrace, rotate sideways, big move higher. And then that takes us into early May, where we have a decline through multiple support levels, taking us to an important price level on a multi-year scale as the May low. The May high forms when we have a period of sideways rotation attempting to establish support. And the later part of May, we have an important resistance level highlighted that we met many times before and failed to break through. So there's a high here. Again, this right here is kind of like speaking of a high over here, but this could be a high. And the reason why I say that is because see right here, this successfully turning resistance into support, usually that's sideways rotation. And then here in May, this is usually sideways rotation. Both of these they go well with what the high correlator is saying is that there'll be sideways rotation near the high after a big move to the upside. Right? Big move to the upside, sideways rotation. Big move to the upside, sideways rotation. Interesting. But these would be highs thus far if they do end up being highs. Early in June, we have mixed sideways decline. It's an sideways S within a channel. So we decline from resistance at the end of May to a trough and support in the early part of June. Rally back to resistance mid-May, and then decline again back to support in the later part of May. And we see here we have a rally out of the May low, increasing with momentum moving forward in time. Big move to the upside. We have a rally out of the June low, increasing with momentum moving forward in time. We have a sideways S formation within a channel in the early part of June. A decline from a trough in the end of May down to a decline from a peak in late May down to a trough in early June, followed by another rally back to a peak in mid-June, and a decline to a trough in the later part of June. Decline increasing with momentum moving out of the high, and we have the universal hexagram there indicating a pretty significant decline off of the high of June. Another reason why this could be a high here, very likely a high here. at least thus far. The later part of June, we have a prominent move higher through key resistance. We stay above it briefly and then break back down through it with a full retracement. And it looks like that retracement continues into July. Before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we're doing for 2024 so far. The 2024 reading was created on August 22nd, 2023 at 2:47 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so we had this decline in the end of January, offering opportunity to open up a long position. You can see how that took place, and it brought us to a high in February, right on the end of February. That high at the end of February offered opportunity to open up a short position or close a long position, so you would have made a sick profit even if you didn't wait until the end of February and close in this early high, which probably would have done. Actually, that's the first high, and then the second high is really what we saw in March, just ended up being on the cusp. But this is pretty solid, and we have this decline here, not to a low slow, but pretty close. We have a highest high here on the cusp of, we have a highest high here in March, so that's pretty solid. 3 pokes through the same trend line, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke in the early part of April. U-shaped dip in the later part of April, fast move higher out of the low. This is all looking really solid thus far. It looks like I probably missed this. This double X often indicates a lowest low, and it looks like I left out these runes here. I mean, it was like over a year ago, or it's almost a year ago that I did this, so I've gotten substantially better since then. But it does look like there's a lowest low in here in June, with another move to the upside, and then a sharp drop over here. Probably see another highest high or the same high in September. The trades look pretty solid though. The trades look pretty solid. We successfully turned resistance into support in the later part of May. It doesn't hold. We drop. There's a brief peak that's easy miss followed by a decline through multiple supports. And remember, we've got this adjustment card for the June high, so there's probably a big move to the upside towards the end here. We also have a prominent peak. In any case, the trades for this have been really solid. If you're interested in the paid version, guys, really great way to support the channel. If you utilize these one-year readings regularly, it's really the right thing to do. There's a couple ways you can go about it. Check it out here. You go to our services, SO Meta Post, scroll down to one-year report, click here to order, and you click on choose when they're discounted because they've already been done. Roughly like a 48-hour turnaround. You basically just pick whichever one you want. There's some 2025s in there as well, and there'll be some 2026s in there pretty soon. As we release them, as people order customs or we put out 1 years, we add them to the list. You can order any of them here at a discounted price. Or if you're interested in a ticker that we're not covering or crypto that we're not covering, click on one-year report, click here to order, click on custom report, specify the year, specify the ticker of crypto, add a cart. Great way to support the channel. Well undervalued or underpriced, I should say. And the final way that you can go about getting the one-year report to one of our total access members is our top tier subscription. You go to SO Meta Post, scroll down to total access, click here to order. This gets you access to the paid version of basically everything that we have, all of the 1 years that we have, and as they come, new ones come out, you get the access to all of those, and you also get access to the monthly paid versions of the monthlies that regularly come out every month, as well as any one-offs that people order that we throw out there. All of that you get with the total access subscription. That's what you support the channel. Much appreciation. Everybody does that. Love you guys. Let's get back into it. So that decline, that full retracement to the downside in the later part of June into a trough on the cusp of June and July, continues past the full retracement, continuing downward into a lowest low, like probably the second week of July, where we decline to and through support, and then we rotate sideways along that second support. A lot of price change. First off, there's sideways rotation near the low, right? We've got this sideways rotation with the low significant, or sideways rotation with the Prince of Discs card, so that's a pretty sound for a lowest low location. Decline off of the July high offers opportunity, and we'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. In the later part of July, we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity. Another prominent trough in the early part of August, an important support level on a multi-year scale highlighted. The August high forms when we're near oversold territory and we sell off through multiple support levels. The August low forms when we have a big move to the upside out of probably oversold territory. Either that or it's a gap up out of the low. The later part of August, we have a rally that offers opportunity. Again, I'll talk about it in more detail in the paid version. There's a trade opportunity on the cusp of August, September at a trough, and then we end up at a peak, maybe like the beginning of the second week. Significant trade, an improbable trade opportunity there that'll really stand out amongst other opportunities when we look back at 2025 in the early part of September. The September low, which could be another, it's going to be a significant trough. I don't think it's a lowest low per se, but if the July lowest low doesn't end up being a lowest low, then probably there's a high and a low here in September. But if there's a lowest low in July, then I would say that this ends up being a prominent trough, but there's probably a highest high here. There's a prominent high when we have a big move to the upside, reaching for distant resistance into mid-September, and then bearish price swings and or a sharp drop in the later part of September. September low forms when in a trough midway through the month we have sideways rotation and a big move to the upside. The September low is also within close time proximity to a prominent peak. The early part of October, we have multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. Near the October high, we have an intentional fake out or shakeout, some sort of tricky chart behavior intended to make us do the wrong thing, some sort of, like fake out, a shakeout, or maybe like a triggering false wave indicator. The truce card usually implies like there was like a rally into a resistance and then almost like a retracement of that rally back down into the October low. Trade opportunity midway through the month, trade opportunity near the fake out at the October high, and a big move to the upside offering opportunity in the later part of October that probably that rally turns over in early November when we have a crest that we sell off from down 2 and 3 support, and we do a U-shaped reversal below that price level, come back and reuse it as support. The November low forms when we have a prominent move higher and a full retracement and then move back down. Usually there's 2 lows when you see the lover's card in the low significator position, and then we've got in the high November high position, we've got probably a new high, not necessarily for the year, but since making like a trough, either that or somehow a prominent high there. It could be a new high because the following month there in December, we have really strong indication of a highest high for the year. Anyhow, there's the halting of a bullish trend, probably the end of the 3rd week of November, marked by a sharp decline through key support. In December, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance. It's disappointing because we expect to break through based on technicals. Instead, we turn around, we decline to previously established false support. The December low forms when we have 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price levels, and the 3rd cross to the upside confirming a bullish trend. The December low forms when we have a decline to and through support to meet another support. We rotate sideways along that support for a bit and then break down through multiple supports. And I'm advised to be very cautious in the later part of December. There's very likely a highest high somewhere around November, December, probably in December. But be very, very cautious there. Some sort of tricky chart behavior in the later part of December. And the sneak preview for 2026 is a sharp sharp decline on a multi-year scale to revisit a support level that we recently met once before there was an opportunity. I'm going to get into the paid version where we're gonna identify the timing of the high highs, the lowest lows, and the best trade opportunities. I'll also tell you what to look for as far as chart behavior into and out of those trades for entry and exit, into and out of those trades. If there's any price level information, we'll talk about it. Any chart information, we'll talk about it. Any cross-reading congruencies, we're going to talk about. There's a ton of valuable information. Not to mention, a lot of the time when I'm recording the paid version, I see stuff that I didn't see when I was doing the public. I don't go back and put it in the public. That's why it's paid. So there's extra stuff. Anyhow, all that, guys, great way to support the channel. So stay tuned if you got the paid version. That's WAXP for 2025. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.